getting to be able to speak to trauma, but from a faith-based perspective of hope. Like a lot of people think, well, I've had trauma in the past, so therefore I'm always going to have trauma. And I'm like, no, there is hope for healing. I'm not the healer. God is the healer. But I have tools thanks to the psychology and a lot of psychologists that have gone before me. It's like they have given me the tools to be able to decrease those triggers, to decrease that intensity that is causing you, whether that's your anxiety or your depression.
Hey there, it is Faith Talk Today. I'm Rick Probst. Hey, welcome to another amazing weekend, and we have another amazing guest. This young lady was part of Women of the Fish that we had just recently, and I think it's always off the chain. But Mayra Richards is our guest today. She's the founder of Remain Christian Counseling. Mayra, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How'd that go for you? How did the night go for you there, Women of the Fish?
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. The women that come, they're just happy and excited to learn. And I love that they bring their friends. So then there's a group of women that come together, and it's just such a sweet moment of learning and worship and giveaways. So it's fun. It's very fun.
Of course, the Fish is our sister station. We have one company, Salem Media Group, and we kind of mingle a bit. And we're so glad that we were able to get you on the show. We want to ask you a little bit about Remain Christian Counseling, which is something you founded. How did you get into counseling, or how did you get into Christian counseling? Tell us the story.
Yeah. So I went to UGA, go Dogs, and I and I discipled there for a very long time. So I did like the UGA Wesley ministry. And I was able to just listen to girls and mentor girls for several years back to back. And it was such an adrenaline for me to be able to sit with girls and lead them through their walk with Christ as a discipler. So that was probably one of the things. And then the other thing is that from my past, I dated a guy that had that has alcoholism. And I had also a lot of friends with depression around that time. And I wanted to be able to help. And I didn't know what to do. And finally, somebody was like, hey, you should be a counselor. And I looked into it, and God just provided everything I needed, from the biology classes to the psychology classes with Christian professors at UGA, that really led me into that path of wanting to do more in that department. And then choosing Richmont was just easy for me because faith is such a part of who I am. I don't know how to separate it. And having some theology classes with like trauma and theology, just letting me process all of that in grad school was a great experience. So I decided to go the faith-based route.
That's awesome. Mayra Richards with us. I apologize for pronouncing the name. It's Remain Connected. Thank you, my executive producer, Ezra Ortiz. Where would I be without Ezra? Mayra, I'm so glad you went that direction. Now, how long have you been doing this professionally?
8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've been able to impact so many folks. You talk about, of course, there's regular counseling, if you will, and faith-based counseling. And let's talk a little bit about that. Practical tips for integrating faith-based principles into a daily routine.
So for me, owning a complete faith-based group practice has been more of a bi-weekly and staff meeting. So everybody knows, like, they can text me whenever they're able to or want to for prayer. The prayer is the core of who we are. When we meet together, we'll pray, we'll have a devotional, we'll have a Bible verse, worship song, whatever it is that I feel like the Lord is leading us that day, because I really think that the overflow of who we are as counselors comes into the room. And so practically what that looks like for me is, walking in my faith with the Lord for some time now. It's like reading the Word, being intentional about being in the Word, and also listening to, whether it's the Fish or Faith or Talk or just what you hear is really important because you take that in and it really leads you to your day, whether you're going to have a good day or a bad day.
Myra Richards with us. We're talking about Remain Connected Christian counseling that she does, and we'll tell you how you can get a hold of her. In fact, if you're watching, it's right there, going across the screen. Back in the day, not so much today, probably, Myra, but back in the day, it was like, oh, you can't mix psychology and faith. That's just two different animals. And
Yeah.
thank God we're able to mix those, because there are good things about psychology. Psychology, basically, what the study of man, right, and why
Yeah.
we do the things that we do. And you bring the faith based element into it, it just makes it whole. How do you see that intersecting with you as a counselor, as a therapist?
Yeah. Sitting with my clients, having the knowledge of the brain, of how God created the brain, the intricacies of uh, just what everything we take in as humans, the Lord made it to where it stays in our bodies, right? I work a lot with trauma. And so getting to be able to speak to trauma, but from a faith based perspective of hope. Like a lot of people think, well, I've had trauma in the past, so therefore I'm always going to have trauma. And I'm like, no, there is hope for healing. I'm not the healer, God is the healer. But I have tools thanks to the psychology and a lot of psychologists that have gone before me. It's like they have given me the tools to be able to decrease those triggers, to decrease that intensity that is causing you, whether that's your anxiety or your depression. Um, so coming into my room, I hope that you feel safe enough to be able to open up and be like, hey, just let me sit here with the Lord and process whatever it is that you need to process. I'm also in prayer constantly when I'm sitting with clients, which is really helpful because sometimes they're like, I don't know where to go. And I'm like, well, I don't either, but we know someone who does, right?
Yeah.
Even if I have so much knowledge about psychology and I've studied to have my master's and all that stuff, I cannot depend on that alone and knowledge alone. I have to depend on the Spirit of God. So partnering those things together, I don't know. I honestly don't know how people don't. I just don't. Um, or maybe it's a lot harder, but it's just sweeter and kinder, and the Lord kind of just leads you into processing things at the pace that He wants you to process that, where I have seen a better outcome than ever before.
Would it be safe to say the psychology basically shows you where the problem is or what it may be, maybe the view of it, and then the faith based part is just a solution of how to walk that out and get on the other side of it? Would that be safe to say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it definitely is. Yeah, it gives you psychology definitely gives you the tools, and then the faith kind of drags you into the healing that He wants you to have. Hmm.
It's amazing that we, and I don't know if amazing even is the word to describe it, but here we are in 2024, and
Hmm.
our culture has had a long wrestling match, if you will, with anxiety and depression, but that has even amped up in the last few years. I mean, of course, we've got, we went through the COVID thing, and there's economic parts and relationships, and so it all kind of comes together. So we're so glad that you're doing what you're doing and helping so many people. Now, this is when we talk about counseling and we talk about faith. Of course, a lot of us go to churches. What is the difference, or why should someone go to like Remain Connected Counseling rather than or in addition to their pastor?
It's a great question. So, pastors are usually more of a supportive and comforting role and more of the theological basis. If somebody comes to me with a theological question, I usually just send them back to whatever church they're going to their pastors of that church, because
Mhm.
that's not what I've studied,
Right,
right?
right.
That is not my forte. Um, so I would hope that it would be the same around, like when after meeting with your pastor for about 3 to 4 times and things are not feeling better, I tell the pastors to refer to us, because that usually means that there's more um, an intensified sense of emotional imbalance in that way. And so I asked them to be like, hey, we can refer to each other. We both know we have different knowledges. And so I hope um, that the more that people are willing to reach out to their pastors, that it's just a partnership of like, hey, we'll refer to you, you'll refer to us, because I think that both are needed.
Yes, very much so. Mayra Richards with us. We're talking about remain connected Christian counseling. Back in the day, I used to lead a church years and years ago, probably about I think 13 years as a lead pastor, and now I'm an associate and have been an associate for years and years. But in the beginning, we did it. We did everything. We did the counseling and it just about plumb wore us out. In fact, it did. It did
Yeah.
wear us out. And
Yeah.
the good news is for churches, I think that if not all churches, most churches are getting it. Wait a minute, we don't even have the tools 100% to help people
Yeah.
along this path. Why not? And like we do now with the church that I'm on staff with, we recommend Christian counselors that are strong in faith and get them to get on the other side of some of those issues that, frankly, in the pastoral sense, we're not equipped to do that. We can get them to a place, but it's the
Sure.
Christian counselors that can get them on the other side. Thank God for you. Real quick, how does it make you feel when folks are on that right path? They come in, then they've been wrestling for something, experiences, history, anxiety, depression. You fill in the blank, but you see them turning the corner. How does that make you feel?
It's it's an honor. It's the holy place, the holy ground. I guess peace, the increase of hopefulness, and of course excited. I have chocolate here, so when somebody goes through a breakthrough, I'm like, please, here's my gift. I can't give you a gift because I'm a counselor, but take one of this because we're celebrating what God is doing in your life, and how, praise the Lord, hallelujah. Like, I don't even know how to explain the feeling of just walls being broken down. I don't know. I can feel it in my bones right now. I don't know how to explain it fully, but it's a blessing and an honor. It truly is a pleasure to sit with my clients.
Mayra Richards with us. Where in Metro Atlanta are you that folks can get connected with you?
We have two offices, one is in Smyrna or Smyrna Marietta area, and the other one's in Rossville. And virtually, of course.
We recommend that you check it out, and you can get them on what, Instagram and Facebook. And what's your website? I don't see it. Oh, there it is, right there, just past me. Give us your website, if you will.
Yeah, my website is remainconnectedllc.com, and you can connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Remain Connected.
Just, do you do virtual stuff as well, or is it all on site?
Virtual as well. Yeah,
Okay,
we have
that's
to
awesome.
now. COVID changed
Okay.
everything.
Yes. Don't you love the 21st century?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Mayra Richards, Remain Connected Counseling, and we appreciate you, Mayra. Thank you so much. We'd love to have you back, and
Sure.
we'll just chat with you, and just catch up with you and see what's going on and what's coming up in the future for us, or for you, for all of us, I guess. Hey, Ezra
Yes.
Ortiz, thank you so much for helping this show move right along. What would happen if it were just me? I'd be in deep trouble. Mayra, thank you so much. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to hear this again, you certainly can. You can listen to our podcast at faithtalkatlanta.com, and you can also watch it. You can watch it on Facebook and on YouTube. Until next weekend, I'm Rick Probst. Have a great week. See you.